Good morning, yogis, and welcome to Yin Yoga. So this is 60 minutes of Yin this morning. My name is Kelly. If you're practicing with me live, welcome. If you're practicing with me later, welcome. This class can be done anytime. It can be done in pieces. It can be done more than once. So for today's practice, we will be using some props. If you have a yoga strap, that would be great. Anything else that you could use as a strap, such as a scarf, a belt, a tie, any of those things would work as well. 2 blocks, if you have them, we're going to use them at least for the first posture for sure. If you have a yoga bolster, great. If not, you can use cushions or pillows. And a blanket is always nice to have. Again, if you don't have a blanket, that's okay too. You'll do just fine today. So we're going to start out, playlist. I emailed you the list for the playlist. If you'd like to use it, it is called Yin, I believe, Take 5 or Yin 5. And if you'd like, you can go ahead and start that now. You can also start it after you get set up in your first shape. That's fine too. So the first shape we're going to take today is one of my absolute favorite shapes. This is one that can be done every single day. If you can do this shape even for 15 minutes a day, it really helps our posture. So it helps us to open up the chest. We tend to sit with our shoulders come forward and kind of hunched over. And this one really opens everything up. So this is called supported fish. There are a lot of different ways to take this posture. There's more yin ways, there's more restorative ways. I'm going to show you just a couple of different options that you have, and we'll get settled in. So do have your strap near your hand, where your hand's going to end up, so stop by the side of the mat, because once we're on our back, we're going to stay there for a moment. And then maybe locate your 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, again, you can use the cushion or a blanket. I'm going to show you with blocks first, and then I'll show you some different things that you can do as well. All right, so the block, the most important thing, one of the blocks is going to go in between the shoulder blades. And there's different ways you can do this. So you want it right in between the shoulder blades. Think behind the heart. So it can go on the lowest setting. It can go on the medium setting. Or you can also turn it sideways. And it can go along where the bra line or a heart rate monitor would go. And then we're also going to use a block to pad the back of our head, because we don't want our head to be splayed back with our chin up. That's not good for our neck. So I'll show you the first way, and then again, a couple of options. So I've got my block set lengthwise, and I've got it on the medium setting. And I'm going to take my second block for my head. I'm always going to hold on kind of the back of my thighs onto my elbows as I lower myself down. I'm going to adjust this block in between the shoulder blades, and then place this block behind the back of my head. Now again, this highest setting can be too much for some people. So in a moment, I'll show you the lowest setting. But what I want you to see that is important is this block is up pretty high. So the bottom of the block is even with the bottoms of my shoulder blades. I don't want the block to be in my lower back, because that's going to cause a lot of discomfort. And I don't want the block behind the back of my neck either. The second block is what's behind the back of the head for support. Feet can stay planted like this, or you have that option to lengthen the legs out. You could also find a reclined butterfly with the soles of the feet together. So if you find that that's too much, turn the block down onto the lower setting, and then maybe put this block on the medium. You could be here, same thing, a little less. Or if you have a bolster, feel free to use a bolster with either a block or perhaps even a blanket at the top for the back of the head. And again, you're getting plenty of chest opening here. It's just a little less intense. So if you are using the bolster, it does go all the way to your sacrum. So it kind of lines up with your lower back because it's softer. So finding the supported fish that works for you and starting to settle in. So this one can be a little bit more intense at first. But eventually, as you get used to it, you find that you almost crave this posture. So again, it really helps to open up the chest, Helps to counter the fact that we sit all day, we tend to round the spine, whether we're working at desks or driving, even texting. All of these things pull us forward. And this counters that and creates a little bit of balance. Notice the sensations in your body and just breathe. So in these shapes in Yin Yoga, I'll tend to set you up, give you some options, and then we have some time to spend here. So Yin Yoga takes time. And the reason for that is we're working into our denser tissues, or our fascia, our ligaments, our tendons to a point. And that tissue takes a little bit more time to lengthen. So we set ourselves up in the shapes. We spend at least 3 to 5 minutes in each shape. We allow the shape to happen, we allow the opening to happen. We try to find stillness, and we work on turning inward. So we notice the sensations in the body, we notice our breath. As you continue to settle into this first shape, I'm going to read to you a little from the book that I learned from. So this book is called Yin-Tuition Yoga, and it's by my teacher, Allison Eaton. And so she talks a little bit about what she means by yin-tuition. So intuition is defined as the ability to understand something instinctively by a gut feeling or knowingness. Intellect is defined as the ability to understand something by reasoning and analyzing. Yin-tuition is defined as yoga guided by the intuition. So yin-tuition is neither a specific form of yoga nor school of yoga, and is simply a way of approaching asana in an intuitive manner. In this approach, your own inner awareness becomes the teacher, the guru, or guide. To use yin-tuition during asana practice, place importance on how the poses feel rather than how the pose looks. Honoring your body's sensations is a key principle of yin-tuition yoga practice. The body is supremely intelligent. It will signal to us by way of sensation when we are approaching an overstretch of the tissue and risking bodily harm, or when it is safe to challenge ourselves to stretch a little further. Listen to it. Yin-Tuition Yoga encourages practicing yoga with non-attachment to outcome. We simply practice because it is healthy and feels good to do so. Practice with patience, trust, and compassion for the process unfolding. Be honest with yourself and lovingly accept the body, mind, spirit that came to the mat today. Applying yin-tuition in asana practice helps us to sense the subtle shifts and changes in the connective tissues, or fascia. As tension in the fascia release, the physical body opens to a greater mobility and freedom. As the physical body opens, an enhanced amount of nourishing energy, or qi, flows. This qi flow is very healing to the body, mind, spirit, and is a feeling worth paying attention to. As the tissues unwind, random thoughts, memories, and emotions may arise into our awareness, seemingly out of nowhere, or the subconscious mind. These movements are healthy and should be met with self-love, honor, and compassion. In Yin-Tuition Yoga, we move slow enough so that we feel the body. Slowing down inevitably opens you to your intuitive and receptive nature. With increased receptivity, you are able to hear the voice of your higher self guiding you. Yin-Tuition can be applied to all styles of yoga asana. The yin yoga practices graciously lend themselves to this approach. This yoga style is unique to itself, however, it is slow, quiet, and reflective practice, resulting in deep relaxation and enhanced intuition. Beautiful yogis. So I ask you, as we're practicing today, to use your yin-tuition, moving through these shapes. If you ever feel any sharp or shooting pain or a burning sensation, please back out and find a place where you're comfortable, change the props a little bit, or maybe even take a different posture completely. Hopefully I'll give you enough options that you find something that works for you. Beautiful yogis, let's take a couple of nice deep breaths together. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. We'll do that again. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. And third time, take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Fill up the lungs. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. That was just a little bit more than 5 minutes in supported fish. Know that if you're practicing on your own and taking this shape, you could stay there up to 15 minutes a day to get maximum benefits. Coming out of the posture is just as important as the postures themselves. We work mindfully through our transitions. So begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes, just starting to reawaken the body. And then eventually, bend into the knees and plant the soles of the feet on the earth first. Once you've got that, we're going to very slowly use your arms and elbows to help you. Lean over to one side and roll off the props. Take your time. Use your bicep as a pillow. It doesn't matter which side you're lying on. We're going to find fetal position for a moment. Beautiful yogis. You can remove your props from your mat, locate your strap, and go ahead and roll onto your back. Again, plant the soles of the feet on the earth, and just let the knees be up for a moment. So next we're going to work into big toe pose. So in big toe pose, we're going to work on opening the backs of the hamstrings, also a little opening in the fronts of the hips. So for a moment, you can just hug your right knee into your chest, and you can interlock the fingers over the front of the shin if you'd like, and just give that leg a little squeeze. So I'll call it a gentle encouragement of the knee to the shoulder. So we still have the left foot planted on the earth. Beautiful. And then from here, find your strap. We're going to loop the strap or scarf around the bottom of the right foot. And once you've done that, you can begin to straighten that right leg any amount. Flexing the toes in towards the face, you're sending the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling. Now you have the option here, you can just hold the strap in the right hand if you'd like, or you could hold the strap in both hands. In yin yoga, I like to slide my hands down the strap so that my elbows rest down. So I find a little bit more rest here because we're going to be here for a little while. So we're starting to feel that stretch on the back of the leg. And from here, you have the option to lengthen the left leg out long. That'll take the stretch just a little bit deeper. We'll also open the front of the left hip or the psoas. So here we do find that little bit of stillness, but flexing the toes in towards the face, and maybe as the hamstring starts to open, you can start to encourage that leg a little bit more in towards the body. Beautiful yogis. From here, we'll take a little bit of an inner groin stretch and a hip opening. Do take the strap in the right hand now. Place the left hand on the left hip just to encourage it to stay down. You can still have that knee bent if you'd like, the left one. We're gonna let that right leg open out to the right. So taking it out away from the body. And again, the elbow on the ground and the tension in the strap will help support here. You could also bring blocks underneath that leg for support if you'd like. Or perhaps the leg opens all the way to the side to the earth, just depending on where you are today. Again, using your yin tuition. Take your time here. Just starting to open up the body. You have a little bit of time, so you can always open until you feel a little bit of resistance. Breathing into it there for a couple moments, and then perhaps you'll find just a little bit more opening. Patience tends to work better with the body than trying to force it to do things. Beautiful yogis. Taking our third variation, use the help of the strap to bring the leg back up to the sky. And then we're going to switch the strap into the left hand. We can take the right hand onto the right hip. We can bring the block with us if we'd like. We're going to take that leg across the body now. So we're stretching into the outer right hip. And you might just stay here, with the leg pointing kind of at like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock. Or if it feels okay, you can take it all the way into the twist. You can let the straight leg land down, or perhaps it lands onto a prop, a block or a bolster. The right arm can reach onto the earth, or you can perhaps find cactus. If the leg lands down or lands on the block and the shoulder is in space and the arm is flailing, know that you can bend the elbow, place the hand on the rib cage here. And this is a little more gentle opening if you don't want to feel that stretch in the pec. So taking it into a twist here. Absolutely okay for the shoulder to be off the earth or the leg, or perhaps both. So twist, very nourishing for our spine, detoxifying. Just breathe here, enjoying this twist. Let's take one nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Using the help of the strap, again, bring that right leg back up through center. We'll bend into the right knee, and then bend into the left knee if you haven't. Plant the sole of the foot down. Remove the strap. And then let the right leg land down onto the earth. You can shake it out a little bit if you'd like here. We're going to move on to the other side. So eventually plant the right sole of the foot down. Let's begin by hugging the left knee into the chest for a minute. So we're creating that healthy compression in the front of the left hip. You might feel that there. So healthy compression in joint tissue helps to promote healing, but sharp or shooting pain is not healthy compression. If you feel that, please don't push into it. Actually back out of it a little bit. All right, as we're ready, we'll begin to send the leg up. We'll locate that strap again and loop the strap around the bottom this time of the left foot. And again, you can hold the strap in just the left hand if you would like, or both hands. You could leave the arms up if you'd like. This will give you just a little bit more leverage, or you can let the hands slide down and let the elbows relax, completely up to you. And maybe you stay here, or you begin to lengthen that right leg out long, taking it just a little bit deeper, feeling a little opening in the front of the right hip. And flexing the toes in towards the face will help you to activate the back of the leg or the hamstrings a little bit more. Take your time here. So hamstrings are something that are usually very tight in people, from the fact that we sit quite a bit. So it takes some time to lengthen them, and you always want to take the time to lengthen them. If you overdo it in the hamstrings, you can cause injury. Not something that we want to do, especially in a yoga class. Beautiful yogis, working now on opening the inner groin. Let that strap come into just the left hand onto the right hip, and begin to open that left leg out to the side away from the body. And again, the elbow can land down. Use tension in the strap for support here, or the leg could land down on a block. Might need to use a higher level. Or you can just open it to your amount of comfort. Just go to where you can and breathe here. So perhaps now you're noticing there's differences between the left and right side of your body. That is completely normal. Our joints do not articulate equally. We have differences between the left and right side. Sometimes it's scar tissue, old injury, or simply the way that you're built. You honor that and know that sometimes you take different variations of postures on each side because of this, or you prop yourself up differently. Beautiful yogis, working into our third variation. Use this tension in the strap to bring the leg back up to center. And then we're going to switch the strap into the right hand. Left hand onto the left hip. Very gently take that leg across the body this time. And maybe you just start out going part way. Maybe you stay there, feeling it maybe in the outer hip. So the foot could be pointing at 1 or 2 o'clock. Or you can let that leg come all the way across the body. Perhaps it finds the earth or a block. And then you can reach this left arm back the other direction. You could find cactus. Or as you see here, my arm's kind of in space. So I might bend into the elbow and find the left hand across the front of my rib cage. And then let the elbow land down. So it's a little chest opener here, but with support. You could look up, or you can look over your left shoulder if you prefer. Just breathe into this twist. Know that you could always bend both knees here if that's more comfortable for you. Twists also help us to detoxify, help us with digestion and elimination. Beautiful yogis, let's take one more breath together in this deep twist. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Using the strength of the strap and the arm to bring the leg back up through center with support. And begin to bend into that left knee, bend into the right knee, plant the sole of the foot. You can remove the strap off to the side. We'll be finished with it for today, and then just let the feet plant down for a moment. And from here, let's just lengthen the legs out long and reach the arms up over the top of the head. Take a nice full body stretch. Take a little transition movement here. You can stay just stretched out like this, or if you'd like, we'll move into Banana Asana. So move your heels over towards the left corner of the mat, and then move your wrists over towards the left corner of the mat. You can cross your right ankle over your left, or your left over your right. It's up to you, and you can use the left pointer and thumb to encircle the right wrist if that feels good. So both shoulders are staying on the mat here, both hips. You just look like a half moon shape or a banana. So a little stretch for the side body. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Release any bind that you've taken. Walk everything back through center. And then we'll take it to the other side. So walk the heels to the right corner of the mat, the wrists over to the right corner, and then crossing the left ankle over the right or the right over the left. And again, encircling with the pointer finger and the thumb, the left wrist, if you'd like to take it a little deeper. As you're breathing here, we have a lateral stretch for the left side of the body. You imagine that you can inflate the left lung just a little bit more. Beautiful yogis. We'll release any bind that you've taken, and again, walk everything back through center. Take that nice full body stretch, reaching the fingertips and the toes away from one another. And then slowly begin to bend into the knees, plant the soles of the feet, bring the arms down, and you can hug the knees into the chest for a moment. That feels good. Maybe a little rock left and right. Eventually, we're going to find ourselves in a seated position. So you could simply roll to the side and help yourself up, or if you'd like a couple of rocks up and down on the spine, take a couple of those rocks. I like to cross my ankles when I do this. And eventually we'll rock up to a comfortable seat. So I'm going to use my blanket. We have a couple of seated postures next, and I'm just going to bring it to sit on. You can do that if you'd like, or if you're comfortable on your yoga mat, that is fine too. And for this next one, I'd like to find either blocks or a bolster. I'll show you how you can use both. So we are going to work a little bit into our outer hips. We have an asymmetrical pose here. This one is called deer pose. We've got a couple of different options of how we take deer today, but it's one of my favorites. We're going to incorporate it with a forward bend. All right, when you're ready, we're going to find 90-90 with our legs. So the right shin is parallel with the short edge of your mat, and you can be turned to the side or the front, whatever's easiest for you. And then you're going to tuck your left leg behind you and see perhaps if you could tuck your left knee into your right instep. So the left foot can be flexed or not, it's up to you. And you might find that you need to be more open here, or perhaps more closed, maybe more open or closed in the ankle. It's kind of up to you. And from here, we have a forward bend. So we're gonna be here for 5 minutes. So we have options here, and we can move in different ways where it shares 5 minutes, or you can find what works for you. So you might want your blocks here, And you can fold over your front leg, so over your front shin. Perhaps you stay here, or you have the option to come over the left knee to fold. And maybe you feel a little differently here. Maybe you're able to fold a little bit more farther forward if you get rid of that compression. Or the final option is to find a full deer twist, where you bring your arms all the way over to the right and fold this way. So you also could have a bolster right against the hip, and you can lie all the way down if you'd like. I recommend looking towards your knees. This is where we'll be. Again, you can find the forward bend in deer pose that works best for you, or you could try a little bit of each. Again, we'll be here for about 5 minutes. So just breathe into this shape. So we have an asymmetrical shape here. We have external rotation of the front right leg and the front right hip, and we have internal rotation of the back left leg or left hip. That internal rotation is not one that we find very often. So again, using your intuition to see how you feel in this shape, where it feels best for you to fold. This is where it comes into play that we all look different in our postures because our bodies are all unique. We all articulate differently. We look different on the outside. We actually look different on the inside as well. My favorite thing to talk about is the fact that we were all shown the same skeleton when we were young, in elementary school or middle school, but that is not reality. Our joints all articulate very differently. So your hip joint will be completely different from mine in the way that it moves, and you might find compression in a different place than I do. So your postures, your asanas are unique to you, and that's where you're using your intuition. In my own practice, I can't go very far when I fold straight forward over my front leg, but if I move over my knee, I can find much greater depth here because I've cleared compression. So playing with your own practice a little bit like that, noticing where you meet compression and where you can get rid of that compression. Again, that option to take the twist into it if you would like. We're about halfway through our time here, so know that if you want to take it in stages, you have about half of the time left. Beautiful yogis, let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open open the mouth, exhale, and release. Wherever you are, using the support of your hands to lift yourself up. Walk yourself to center and then walk your hands behind you, lean back. We're gonna uncross the legs and just shoot them forward and just kind of shake them out for a moment. So just taking some gentle transitions in between our shapes just to bring the blood flow back into the tissues. Self-massage can be nice here as well. So preparing to work into the second side of our deer with those options again, and maybe again on this side you're going to find something different. So bringing the hands back, bend into the knees, plant the soles of the feet, and just for a moment windshield wipe the knees back and forth. So this can be nice transitional motion to take, especially in between the sides with this one to release. And then eventually start to let those knees land over to the left. So this time the left shin is in front, the right shin behind. And again, we're looking for that left shin to be parallel with the edge of the mat that you're using, either the short edge or if you're on the longer edge. The right knee can fit into the left instep, or your shape might be a little bit more open. That's absolutely fine. Maybe you're finding that 90-90. It's completely where your body works here and what's comfortable for you. Flexing the toes, always an option. That a lot of times can help the knee feel a little bit more stable. And maybe you just stay seated here and begin to think about a forward fold. Remembering you can use blocks very creatively. If you'd like here, you could have a block underneath the forehead. Whatever variation works for you. Maybe under the elbows. You can start over that front shin. Eventually you're working to maybe come over that knee to the side a bit. And again, you have the option to come into deer twist if you'd like. So twisting all the way to the left. Bringing yourself down wherever works with blocks or perhaps with a bolster. Again, noticing what you feel. What are the sensations in the body? What does your yin intuition tell you? So again, this is an asymmetrical posture. So we're doing something different on each side. We have external rotation in that front left leg and hip. So a little stretch for the inner groin as well. And we have internal rotation of that back right hip. So a little stretch for the IT band and psoas, or excuse me, IT band and piriformis perhaps. And finding what works for you. And knowing that you can take this in stages. Again, maybe you begin over the front leg, then come to the side, and then all the way into the twist. As you're settling in, take a full body scan. Notice areas where you feel tension, where you feel resistance, where you feel tightness. And that can be physical as well as even emotional. Perhaps a tightness in the chest, perhaps a little apprehension. Just notice that, breathe into it. So I talked a little bit in the opening about how yin yoga can sometimes bring up emotional feelings. And the way that I like to liken these is I imagine myself sitting on the side of a river and I'm watching my thoughts and emotions float by. I see them, I notice them, there's no point to ignore them, but it doesn't mean that I have to reach out and grab them. I can simply let them float by. Yogis, we're about halfway through our time here in our deer forward bend. Yogis, let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Wherever you are in your deer pose, use your hands to begin to help you to press yourself back up. And again, bring the hands behind you, lean back a little bit, and straighten the legs out. And you can bounce out the knees here. Again, a little massage for the legs if you would like. Beautiful. We have one more seated posture to take here. So again, you can be sitting on a blanket. I'm also going to show you how to use props here in this next seated posture. Many of us find that seated postures are very challenging for us, this one especially. So we're going to find caterpillar pose. So caterpillar is a very large stretch for the hamstrings. We call this Paschimottanasana in Vinyasa, but in Yin we call it caterpillar. So I'm going to turn to the side to show you some variations that you can take. So I like to sit up a little bit higher in this one with my legs straight. I find that I can get a little deeper into it when I do that. So you could bring a block or a rolled up blanket or a bolster to the back of your mat and lift yourself up on it so your hips are sitting on it. And then you can begin to straighten the legs out long. Now flexing the toes in towards the face here can sometimes help you to feel just a little bit more of a stretch. The idea here is we really want to feel this stretch. The target area is the back side of the entire body, but the back side of the legs especially. But we want to try not to put in too much tension on the lower back, and that's why sitting up on a prop can help. If you don't need to sit on a prop, know that you don't have to have one. You can also have a bend in the knees here if you'd like. If it's too much for your hamstrings, just bend the knees. You could also put blocks or a bolster or blanket underneath the back of the knees. From here, you're going to begin to walk the hands forward and find any amount of forward fold. So in our Yin class, this is more of a surrender here. So we are allowing the spine to round. I like to turn my palms up in more of a surrender so that I'm not tempted to grab my feet and pull. So we're not trying to use tension here. We're not trying to use muscles or strife to get deeper. We're just trying to allow everything to soften here. You can tuck the chin into the chest. Know that you can also use a bolster or blocks on your lap. Sometimes I like to bring a block on my legs to support my forehead so I don't feel so much tension in the neck. Again, find what works for you. We won't be here incredibly long today. So again, a deep stretch for the back of the legs, the entire back side of the body. While you're relaxing in this one, I have a reading for you from Journey to the Heart. This is a book by Melody Beattie. This is actually today's reading, and I thought it was quite timely. So this one's called, Are You Angry? Anger ranks high on the list of perplexing, troublesome emotions. We want to be kind and loving, but then suddenly we feel a jolt in our heart, an edge to our voice. Something has been tapped deep inside. It could be a chunk of old anger, something we weren't conscious of or safe enough to feel back then. It may be current. Something has come into our life today and our reaction is anger. Oh no, we may think, this isn't what I need. But denying anger will not bring us joy. Hiding it, tucking it away deep inside is not the answer. We may even turn it upon ourselves. Not feeling anger won't make it go away. Its energy will still be there, pounding away inside us and in subtle ways, pounding away at others too. Until we acknowledge our anger, feel it, and release it, it will keep us off balance, on edge, and irritable. We need to give ourselves permission to feel all our emotions, including anger. But allowing yourself to feel angry doesn't mean giving yourself permission to rage, to hack and cleave at the world, to verbally abuse those around you. Find ways to express your anger with grace and dignity. Park your car, roll down the windows and yell. Find a solitary place, a spot where you are safe, then speak loudly about how you feel. Write it out, shout it out. Go to the gym and work it out. Anger can be a guide. Used creatively, it can help us decide where to go and where not to go. It can help us get to the next place in our lives. Feeling and expressing our anger in appropriate ways will take us forward to a place of power within ourselves. Let yourself feel angry when anger is what you really feel. Then get the anger out of your head and out of your body. Once that's happened, you'll feel clear. You'll know what to do next. The path to your heart, to your inner voice, will be opened. Sometimes getting anger is exactly what we need to do next. Beautiful yogis, use your hands to walk yourself back up. And then from here, if you'd like, maybe use the hands behind the back of the knees to bend the knees. And just bring the hands behind the body for a moment. Maybe you take a couple of those windshield wipes, left and right. Perhaps you'd like to press up into what we call hammock, kind of a reverse tabletop here since we've been sitting for a little while. Beautiful. All right, go ahead and come down, and we are going to work into our next shape. So this one is going to stretch out the side body here. And this one is a little complicated to teach, so if you for a moment will just wait and kind of watch how I set myself up in it, and then you can set yourself up in it as well. So this one is called side rib stretch. So we are going to be lying on our sides, and you do have that option to find deer legs again if you would like, but we've done quite a bit with that, so instead, if you'd like, I prefer mermaid legs here. So you're kind of just letting the knees come a little bit closer together, and for you guys, you're the opposite of me, so your left leg is on bottom, right leg on top, so you're kind of fitting the left instep into the right shin here, or side of the shin. Okay, so for this one, you need a bolster or some kind of pillows that you're gonna put on your side. And how big you build this up is going to be dependent on how open the side body is. And you can kind of change that depending on how it feels for you. You also need a block or a pillow here. And you're gonna set that just about 3 or 4 inches away from the block. From the bolster. So, know also if this is too much, you can turn the bolster to the side and just lie on the bolster because you're still getting some side opening here. But if you want a little bit more, you want to build yourself up a little bit higher. Once you get this set up, come down onto your elbow, and then we can kind of adjust the block. So the arm is in between the bolster and the block. And the block, I would say, is going to either be on the medium setting or the lowest. Or if you're really open, know that you can forego the block if you'd like. I'm going to show it on the medium setting. So I'm going to thread my left arm through here, and then I'm going to bring this block so that it's right above my left ear. So it's kind of on my temple. And then I'm going to reach my right arm up and over. Now for me, my arm is in space, so I'm gonna bend the elbow and kind of rest it. Know that you can also just have the arm here with a hand on the rib cage if you would prefer. Kind of up to you. So now starting to work yourself into this one. So again, side rib stretch. We'll also take this into a twist. So make sure that you're at the front edge of both the bolster and the block here, because eventually we're going to turn this open. So working yourself into the side rib stretch first. And again, if you're not feeling it, lose the block and you might feel a little bit more stretch in the side body. Again, if this doesn't work for you, feel free to turn the bolster lengthwise so it supports your entire body. Beautiful yogis. We'll take one more breath here, and then we're going to turn it open into a twist. So all that we do is start to turn our head and our chest towards the ceiling. And we might not come all the way. You can kind of see that I don't. So my right arm would literally be laying in space here. And this can be a nice stretch for the pec. But for most of us, it'd be better to bend the elbow and let that right hand be across the rib cage. And the knees can stay down, or they could lift up a little bit if you'd like. Again, just taking any form of the twist here. Yogis, one more breath here in this twist. Inhale in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Rolling back over onto the side body to begin. Using the left or right hand to help you to press yourself up. Beautiful. And then bring your hands behind you, just let your knees come up. You can straighten your legs out long for a moment. We're gonna take this into the other side. So just switching your props to the other side. And again, we find mermaid legs here. So this time the knees are pointing off to the right. We bring our setup close to us. And again, it could be just a bolster, it could be some cushions up. It could be the bolster across the entire body. And then whatever you need for the head, or foregoing that if you would like. Go ahead and bring the elbow down first and kind of set yourself up. So you want this kind of right in the side body. So the idea is we're getting that lateral stretch, and this is kind of pushing our ribs up here. So once you find that, use your hands to help you. Come down, think kind of thread the needle here with the right arm. And then bring the block right above the ear. So you don't want it squishing the ear, and it can be a little bit behind the ear too, knowing that we're gonna open to the side. And then from here, you can let that left arm reach up and over. And maybe it lands down. If it doesn't, know that you can always bend the elbow and somewhat pat yourself on the back here. And just breathe into the side body here. So the side body and side ribs are not something that we usually stretch. This one's really good for opening the lungs. So right now you might feel like your left lung is a little bit more open here. Just notice that, breathe into it, take advantage of it. Remembering if you're not feeling the stretch, either pad yourself up more or lose the block completely under the back of the head. Beautiful, yogis. And from here, we're going to open this up into the twist. So just begin to let your chest and gaze look up towards the ceiling. Opening any amount, and again, the left arm might be in space, kind of hovering here. And that's a nice stretch for the pec, or sometimes better to take the fingers to the left ribs and then just let the elbow rest down. So we've still got opening here, but we're not hanging out with no support. Perhaps the knees rise a little bit. You can see that mine separate a touch in this twist. And twists, very healthy for our body. They help to nourish our spine. You can imagine that wringing out of the internal organs, getting rid of toxins, flushing them out of the system, and just kind of igniting everything in the digestive system as well. It's really nice to kind of start and end your day with some gentle twists. Things moving in the morning, helps to stoke the appetite. And at night, just kind of helps to slow everything down. Yogis, let's take one more nice deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale, and release. Rolling back onto your side first, kind of reorient yourself. Use your left hand to help press yourself up, and then bring the right hand to help as well. Taking your time here to rise up. And again, bringing the hands behind you, maybe stretching the legs out long. Again, a little movement here if you would like. You can move the props off to the side. I will eventually recommend that you find a propped Shavasana. So you can find the Shavasana by bringing the bolster underneath the back of the legs. You could use the blanket to cover your body or use it as a pillow. You can also use blocks under the back of your thighs. So I will recommend that you take a Shavasana, but we're just going to close out this practice together. I'll let you take your Shavasana on your own today. So perhaps you could spend a little bit more time there. So before you go there, perhaps just finding a comfortable seat. And you can bring your hands to heart center at Anjali Mudra, pressing your thumbs into your sternum into your thumbs, tucking the chin into the chest, close down the eyes. So always using your yin tuition to move through your asana practices, whether you're doing yin or any other type of asana. Always honoring your body, practicing without judgment or attachment, something we call ahimsa in yoga. It means non-violence. So non-violence towards others, non-violence towards yourself. Also remembering that sometimes feelings of anger come up during your day or during your asana practice, and that's okay. Honor with that, deal with it with grace in a healthy way, and let it go. Yogis, thank you so much for practicing with me today. The light and love in me sees and honors the light and love in each and every single one of you. Namaste.